Now, a lot of people have probably been curious of why this character's name is Rachel. Rachel is a pretty much feminine sounding name. So I was thinking, like, first of all, let me do some very extensive research. And what I mean by that, I'm gonna go click on one video on YouTube and I'm gonna say that it's truth. So I came down to here and it said how to pronounce Rachel. And I said, there must be something I could find from this.
Rachel.
You hear it?
Rachel.
Did you guys hear it? Are you hearing the same thing I'm hearing? Oh no, let's listen to one more.
Rachel.
All right, hold on. They have like robot voices. Hold on. Maybe the robot voices, you'll hear it.
Rachel.
You heard it, right?
Rachel.
It's clearly the reason why this character is called Rachel is because people think it's like you're just saying it like that, but what it actually means is Ray, chill. Look at this guy's S3 animation.
Show me what you got.
Look at that. Come on. Die. Yo, chill. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash, and today's video is free from pesticides, proven to reduce body fat by 5% and is 100% MFO. Today we're going to be talking about Rachel the Zebensteiner, or Stunner. Actually, it's Stunner. Zebensteiner, I think that's how you would technically say it. This guy is an absolute beast, as we've been very familiar with this guy, but based on the last video, which by the way, let me show you something. I just dropped the video, all right? So I just dropped this video. And in this video, I asked you guys for 200 likes. So this is good faith. This is what we call good faith, that you guys are gonna knock it out of the park. All right. And 200 likes is like similar to the last video has 200 likes and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that you guys are gonna knock it out of the park. And also this is proof that it's a copyright claim that I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it with Disney. we're sharing. Anywho. What this man is not sharing, well, actually technically he is sharing his dirty passive, but before we get into that, you guys know we always like to start off with the stats. So let's start off with the stats. And why is his crit so doo-doo? I have never known, if I would have known all this time that your crit was abysmal. That might be the lowest crit I think in the game. Holy dog. Anyway, as you can see, his attack, HP, defense, which is irrelevant, not irrelevant. His attack is important, as we should all know. Hit is 101, dodge is 92. Again, one of the lowest dodges I think I've ever seen in the game. Crit is low, block is okay. Attack speed is 96, which is very important, obviously. Crit damage is irrelevant because he has no crit. The reason why he has no crit, as I'll also explain that later, his block defense is 50 like everyone else's, and he has no luck. Obviously, we have to go pretty much straight into the skills to explain half of this stuff, because he is a general. If you guys don't know, this is one of the generals. He has, I think, 1 FC, which we'll go into later, but this guy is an absolute beast. But you know, before we go into that, let's see, he is 19. Interesting. I don't know, even though it's like a 1 or 2 year difference, I feel like he was in his 20s, because to have that murderous intent, you'd think that it would take a little bit more years to get it, but you know, you gotta earn it, right? You gotta earn it a little bit. So first, let's check his basic attack. I like it. I also like his weapon. It's like 2 separate like kind of swords. I don't know the technical term of it, but it's kind of like a lance. It's a really cool weapon. It's pretty much like you can swing it both sides, a lot of hits, especially if you have agility with it. And we're talking about weapons and design instead of a review. Anyway, counter 3, as we all know, the best counter that you could have, counter 3. So pretty much when he counters, if the target dies, he gets a mana. If the target has 70% health, aka pretty much if the first initial hit, he'll get mana from it. But there is a big gap in between that, 70% or more, and like, you know, that he won't get mana for it occurring. So it is what it is. I mean, it is a lot of damage. It's pretty much their basic attack, just done on the opponent's turn. Flow of mana, which as we stated, we already covered Janae, and now we're covering the other one. This is the other character that gives mana to the back row. Back row allies permanently gain 1 mana. As we previously discussed, that what this means is that it's not that they always gain 1 mana, which I kind of wish it kind of worked like that. It would make certain comps OP, would make certain units OP, but I wish it kind of worked like that, maybe just to see it. Like, let me get a test build of the game and let me see how broken that would actually come out to be. But pretty much characters will always have 1 mana on their turn when he's on the field in the back row. And then obviously there's a couple of the characters that work for the front row, so the back row love is well appreciated. And of course he has the beautifulness, which is dishearten, which is told you that murderous intent. He disheartens enemies with lower attack than self with the dishearten mark, as you can see in a lot of videos or a lot of PvP. You'll see it. Just click on your character, you probably have it. This dishearten mark decreases their dodge by 50 and defense by 20%, reducing dodge by 50. And if we discussed this before, is we'll go later and we'll see the green guardian stone set, and just think about like how significant 50 dodge is to reduce that from a character as long as he has lower attack. Now obviously when you're using this character, you're going to want to boost his attack as high as possible, because you want it to land on not only the tanks, because that's kind of what it's actually designed for in a sense. It's to reduce the tank's defense, but it reduces the dodge also of the other characters that are on the enemy team that might just fall a little bit below his attack. Now it's not retroactive, and I think I've never spoken about this in any of these generals, is that I never mentioned, I mean it could be common sense to most, but I never mentioned that it's not like retroactive. I think that's the proper term of it, but it doesn't matter like if I attack boost him or if his attack gets lowered, that all of a sudden you're not disheartened. I do slightly wish that was a thing, right? It would actually add some interesting counterplay. Like let's say if you were to lower Bathory's attack and then the tranquil mark goes away, you know, like that would be very interesting, you know, like, or if you, I mean you can't raise the attack of your opponent, but you know, stuff like that would be interesting. So if you were to lower his attack, you gain your dodge and your defense back because he's not disheartening you anymore. I kind of want you guys to, you know, comment on that. What do you guys think about that if they were to add that into the game? It would also obviously raise debuff characters into the meta. It would raise cleansing into the meta. It would add more interaction to it instead of, well, guess what, that guy's gear is better than yours, eat a dick. That's kind of how I feel about it. But you know, obviously that benefits the whales, it benefits people that spend and invest more into the characters. So that's it. And then we're gonna go to this ability, which I did not know. If you guys know, that was my first time really valuing or actually seeing, and I'll put the card up here if you guys haven't seen the other video for some reason, but I never use Rachel. And when Rachel's just doing his thing, I'm just kind of like, that's Rachel. He's just flopping and jumping around. I didn't know he had a kill reset. That's actually super strong. Not in that video, but when I had control of the character, obviously, is that I was just killing multiple characters because he's a fire character, so he gains mana based on crits. So if other characters are critting, I was able to do like 2 or 3 of these in a row, and just because I had a full mana bar. It was ridiculous. So let's look at the quick slash.
What are you looking at?
Boom, boom. In there. Love it. What I mostly like about this character is that like all of his stuff is delayed, so it's like he pretty much is chewing you up, beating your ass. You know, he already hit you multiple times. I do think the shield, the little small shield, is kind of stupid, and it would make him seem way more agile and flexible because he doesn't have like a parry mechanic or something like that. So it's just like, why do you have it? And I think if I just want to look at this one more time. It's not like he uses it, right? He never uses the shield, so like, why does he have it? It just seems weird to have something that you never use. Silent Slash is here, and this one is a buttload of damage up front. It actually has the same amount of damage, I think, as Rudley's S2, but it also has burst attached to it. Same amount of mana though, which is weird, but the reason why it's a little bit dumbed down is, as you can see, like I said before, increases attack slash hit of all allies, that's weird, by 50%, and their attack speed by 20 for 10 turns. That means that your character is going to get a little bit quicker turns. The attack boost is ridiculous. That's so strong. And the fact that, as you said, that it has burst, as I said, that it has burst, so it can do a really crazy amounts of damage. And for a kill into buff is awesome. I think that there needs to be more characters that have a skill like that, that if they survive, something happens. The only ones that do have that, or the only character I can think of, is Valar. Valar has the skill like if you die, something happens, and if you survive, something happens, and that's his synergy with Garf. So let's look at the skill one more time.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got. Again. Woo! Oh, that look. Thank God he blocked. Right? Even like, come on, like, if you got a little shield, there are characters that don't have a shield that have more block than him. Like, come on, like, what is this nonsense? Why does he have a shield? Whatever. Now I wanted to add this in. Someone asked me, recommended that I can do this, that I go over characters that work with the character, and sometimes I didn't do that. I didn't do that for Degas. There are obviously characters that synergize with the generals. The characters that do are going to be Baraka. Both of his skill have the plunder effect attached to it. So with plunder, they'll be taking mana as proven. And thank you Dreadnought, by the way. He hit me up in one of my comments. I read all my comments because I'm a god, even though it's hard sometimes. According to him, one, it only triggers when you have at least the character, the target has one mana, at least one mana to steal from, and it gives 2 mana to the back row. I think that's been shown. I think if you look at the last video, it shows that it actually affects the back row entirely. It doesn't give it to one back row ally or random. They just give it to all, which is really strong, as far as, especially with his synergy with Baraka, who is a fast character that can pretty much jump into the fray, give 2 mana to Rachel. And once he does that, Rachel, if there was a crit involved, which Baraka has pretty decent crit at 120, he might crit the character and then easily give Rachel some love. So that's also going to give synergy, obviously, to not regular Annie, but FC Annie, that whole aspect, because she's going to give out crit. The only issue is that you'd have to find someone that has mana and then specifically target them out, and then it will allow Rachel then to get a free, reset on that. So there's a lot of synergy with those 3 alone, and Annie by herself, is very, very strong. And she also fires, so she's going to get free mana off those continual crits and things of that nature. So just keep that in mind. And if you run even faster characters, then like if you speed tier, this is what we used to call in Summoner's War, we call it speed tuning, not speed tiering, we call it speed tuning. So you would have like FC Annie, right? You would run Baraka, right? And then you would run other characters that are still going to be faster than Rachel. You can run Jin as well. And what's really cool is that you can run Zion. He also has a synergy with Dishearten that he auto crits when they're disheartened. So he has one here, and they're both single target hits. Oh, sorry, this is not single target, hits the back row. It doesn't really matter. It only gives 1 mana no matter how many people get crit. That's been proven. But really cool synergy with these characters. Now, I don't know his speed, 75, so he would go after Rachel. And the last characters that I think are going to synergize with him are pretty much going to be any AoE burst characters. Dishearten is going to affect definitely more than 1 or 2 or 3. And since their dodge is lowered, and their defense is lowered, it's very likely that you're going to be able to nuke to oblivion like the enemy team. It's a very strong thing, and they can't cleanse it. They can't do anything. That's why I was suggesting it before, that you maybe should be able to, but you at the moment can't do it. And I also do think that if you kill the general, that the passive should go away. I think that that's a nice counter to it. Like, you can either reduce the condition or reduce the character to ashes, so it goes away. But again, let me know how you guys feel about that. Now, if we go over here to loveliness, that is the Fate Core, you will also see the Executioner of the Battlefield. Now, his skills are exactly the same, so I'm not going to go to the trouble of showing them. They're pretty much the same. There's no difference. The difference here, though, is that he does get the Awakening of a Harbinger of Awakener, which, if you guys don't know, just really quickly, is that when he gets a kill, or when you kill one of his allies, if he attacks or if the ally is killed, as you see that this buff is removed when the target with marker revenge is killed or damaged by that character, activates the awaken effects on all allies with awakening skill. So you can have a group of these people, everyone's gonna spaz out. So pretty much he gets critical hit, which as you guys know he's missing. Also increases the attack speed and gains damage immunity for 4 turns when his health gets low. So really cool stuff there. I mean, you know how important that crit is. That's why if you see this version of Rachel, it's way more dangerous. Like when you kill off one of his characters, super dangerous if you kill off one of his characters. All right, last but not least, let's talk about this gear. As I wanted to bring up the nature gear set, right? 3 is +8, 6 is +20. So when, like I said before, if you take away 50 from that, like, it almost eliminates this entire gear set, which kind of is weird, right? It kind of eliminates it entirely. I mean, it's obviously because dodge in most characters are like 90 and above, so you want to be able to make it worthwhile. But it crazy that it chews through the gear set. I actually am a big fan of machine on him. Reason being is because since he's single target, both of his skills are single target, you want to be able to get to that character. And a lot of times you're going to be running against people with block. We just did a character with block. We did Degas, so he's there. Ulum's pretty popular. They have Tranquil. You can't kill the character in one hit by design, so the block is going to trigger. You're going to need something to be able to to not get provoked and still be able to get that character in the back. So I really big fan, big advocate of the machine gear set on him. Obviously if he gets broken, he's pretty much screwed, but I mean if you're running a 4 set or something like that, then you should be fine. So I think what this is plus, like at 4 you get 2 rounds of immunity, which I think is pretty much fine. I don't know if you need plus, that would be 4 rounds of status effect immunity. I don't know if you necessarily need that, but I think maybe 2 is obviously good, because it's if everything happens within the first turn, depending on how aggressive your team is. Even if your team's very aggressive, you might want your whole team on machine, to be honest. But I think 4 should be enough, and then maybe you can run a 2 set of, how much is dark? No, dark is 3, right? Dark is 4. So I guess if you wanted to do that, maybe go 2-4 if you want to still run dark, so you can heal him back up. So he does a lot of damage, so having him heal himself is not that bad. But I think you definitely want to prioritize having at least machine on a single target. At the end of the day, why not just go 6 block for the tiny shield for the memes? Anywho, that's all I gotta say about the boy Rachel. Rachel, let me see that in the comment section. Hashtag Rachel. Just add it on to your other comment. Hashtag Rachel. But hope you guys enjoyed. I really think this is a good character. If there was a reason for me to finish off that Mega Whale banner thing, it would definitely be to get Rachel. I think that would be the character. Garf I would like a lot too, but I think Rachel would be more interesting to see all the shenanigans, all the crazy shenanigans that he makes. But I also have more synergy with Garf in my account currently. I have the 2 characters that synergize with him. Plus he just makes things tankier, and I kind of like that a little bit too. Still on the fence on it. 2 days left. I'll make a decision. I'll make a decision the day of, whatever. But one decision that you don't have to make is to like, comment, and subscribe, because you should have been did that. You know, I like to say it at the end of the video. Hopefully I earned your trust that you would like to do those things. But just remember that every day at the casino is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.